Right. Hello and welcome to the Zonal Weakness brought to you by Corner Football Fantasy, powered by Fantasy Football Scout. And we are back for Game Week 5. And of course, Game Week 6. And we are it's great to be back. And of course, today I'm going to do it all by myself. There's no Bethany here because she often comes one week, every alternate week. And we are still looking for another co host to join us in this team. So while the lookout is on, you'll have to bear with me as the one who's kind of doing it solo. Anyway, without further ado, let's just get started straight to the zonal weakness. And of course, this is the zonal weakness for Game Week 6. And yeah, if you haven't followed, liked, or subscribed, please do follow us and like and subscribe to all the channels on X as well as on Facebook, but also on YouTube because we are producing regular contents. And yeah, you would be able to keep up to date with all the latest information, analysis, and data from related to FPL. And all the data that you see are taken from Fantasy Football Scout members area. If you're interested in the membership, please click in the link in the description below. And of course, you will get a 5% discount. And then you would have access to all the data, including the zonal data for the 20 teams and all the others. Yeah. So hurry, click in the link in the description below. And yeah, there you go. You would get a discount. Moving on, and this is the how the table looks like for the zonal for game week 5. And if we can see clearly, first fixture is basically the one that is most anticipated. Is of course Manchester City versus Burnley. And I would like to start with, of course, with Haaland first. As you can see, Burnley have considered 17 chances down the center and are ranked second, where Haaland is going to occupy. He's looking good and he's looking sharp. A lot of people didn't go with him, so yeah, there is the tendency of wildcard now to just to bring him in, and he's ranked second along with Reindeers, who's also looking very good. So yeah, he's also a good option given the zonal data. It looks like he's a good option for the triple captaincy this week as well for those who are thinking of playing against him or playing on him. Um, on the right flank and on the left flank, as you can see, Foden seems to be again back in the limelight and in the discussion, and they've considered 22 chances and ranked one, whereas Doku, the side that Doku is going to occupy, Burnley have considered 30 chances and are ranked one. So this is looking like a pretty tempting and interesting fixture for Manchester City, and I hope the Zonal will be able to keep up to that expectations. Moving on to the next fixture, which is Manchester United versus Brentford. And yeah, I think following the performance of Fernandes in the last match, I think most of them are thinking of transferring him in again. And as you can see, the zonal kind of suggests and highlights that Brentford have conceded 16 chances down the center and are ranked third, where Fernandes and Šeško is playing. And of course, you have Brentford conceding 20 chances down the right flank, and they're ranked fourth, where Cunha is going to appear. And Cunha is back from his injury, so that looks again a very good, promising aspect. Moving on to the third fixture, which is, of course, Chelsea versus Brighton. And Brighton seems to be showing a lot of weakness down the right flank, where they have considered 22 chances and are ranked third. And this is where Neto and Cucurella is going to occupy. Of course, Cucurella was benched, and there was a lot of frustration among the managers. But however, we feel that this could be a match where it would be very interesting for the Cucurella as well as Neto owners. And Yao Pedro again from the center, Brighton seems to have considered 12 chances and are ranked second. And Yao Pedro is, of course, a captain shout. By the way, in the previous fixture where Manchester United versus Brentford, Fernandes is a good captain shout as well. Moving to the fourth fixture, which is, of course, West Ham versus Everton. Everton seems to be a different side. And, of course, Grealish seems to be the one who is kind of drawing all the attention along with NDIA. And as you can see here, NDIA, the zone where NDIA is going to occupy, the left flank, West Ham seems to have conceded 20 chances and are ranked second. So again, NDIA could be among the scores in the score sheet, but as well as pick up a lot of DEFCON points as well. Grealish seems to be the creator, found his rhythm, and of course he's enjoying his football again after leaving Manchester City, and has thanked Moyes for making him smile while he's going to play football on match days. I think that kind of indicates how he's enjoying. And if you look at the right flank here, West Ham have actually considered 13 chances and are ranked 10th. Dewsbury Hall is another cheap option who's occupying, who's kind of drawing a lot of attention, but he's playing down the center where they are ranked 7th, because West Ham have actually considered 12 chances down the center. Um, to the lesser important or less exciting fixture, which is Aston Villa versus Fulham. And as you can see, of course, it's Muniz who's kind of drawing a little bit of attention here down the center. Aston Villa have considered 13 chances and are ranked 5th. On the other hand, Iobi is the one who's kind of caught my eye and caught my attention. And they have considered 23 chances down the right flank and are ranked 2nd. So I would rather focus on Muniz and IOB, and not so much on Jimenez and other players that are mentioned here. But again, we are not here to predict the team, and we are not here to suggest who's going to play and who's not going to play. But these are the players that tend to occupy these spaces, so that's why their names are mentioned. And then the next one, it's of course Tottenham versus Wolves. Tottenham seems to be a different team, of course, under the new manager. And it is Richarlison who's kind of drawing our attention, as he's highlighted. Wolves have actually considered 18 chances down the center and are ranked worst. And Richarlison seems to have found his rhythm again and enjoying his football. So I think that's one of the space that you would probably look at. Now, there's a lot of discussion also about Xavi Simons. Whether he's going to play or whether he's not going to play, that's something, again, as I said before, I'm not quite sure. But again, if you are interested in Xavi Simons, this is where Wolves have actually considered 12 chances and are ranked 12th. But over the next couple of fixtures, if you look at the next, if you pre-plan and look ahead for over the next four weeks, you would see that the right flank where West Ham is going, where Tottenham is going to occupy, the zone of the opponent seems to be weaker. So Xavi Simons could be a good option in terms of transfer, and I think that's where you could pick him as an option, and could capitalize over the next 4 game weeks. Maybe not this game week, but over the next 4 game weeks, he looks promising. Liverpool versus Crystal Palace next, and with Ekitike getting the red card, Isaac seems to be back in the attention, and Crystal Palace have considered 9 chances and are ranked 14. They're one of the toughest defensive teams going around, so it's going to be a pretty interesting battle there for Liverpool. But again, Gakpo is the one that draws my attention mostly because this is where Crystal Palace have actually considered 17 chances and are ranked 8th. I think the red card has led to the fact that Gakpo is likely going to start now. So we could expect that start from Gakpo, and of course also to do well in this fixture. And the last fixture for this slide is Leeds versus Bournemouth, and again the man that draws everybody's attention is one and only Semenyo. As you can see, Leeds have considered 14 chances down the left flank and are ranked 6th. And this is where Semenyo is going to occupy the space. But again, Semenyo really doesn't stick to one particular zone. He's also playing through the right and through the center, but also through the left. So he's kind of covering a lot of ground on each side. But why we put him on the left side is because that's where we felt the head map was a bit more prominent. And that is why we put him there. But then again, on the right side, you see that Leeds have considered 18 chances and ranked 6th. This is where David Brooks and Truffett would occupy the space. And they also have a good chances in terms of, crosses conceded, but also in terms of getting an assist and being on the score sheet again. So let's move on to the next slide. And there is not much green here, as you can see, but Chelsea versus Brighton, and this is where Chelsea seems to be a little bit vulnerable down the center, where Ruta is going to occupy the space along with Welbeck. They have considered 13 chances and are ranked 5th, so this could be a good match for Ruta, of course. Dunk may also do well, depending on the set pieces, and of course capitalize because Chelsea have conceded 15 headed conceded and are ranked 5th again. So that's that. The next fixture, it's Arsenal versus Newcastle, seems to be a very tough one on paper, and also the Zonal suggest as well. This is why you see that's not much highlighted, but then again, you may touch upon Guy Chorus, but I wouldn't really focus on it too much right now because the Zonal really doesn't indicate much. Then the next fixture would be, it's of course Nottingham Forest and Sunderland, and if you are in the mood or in the market For some of the Sunderland players, I think one of the players that's kind of drawing my attention is, of course, Granit Xhaka and Lefi. And yeah, from the right flank, of course, Nottingham Forest have considered 19 chances and are ranked fifth. So that's where they could do well. Isidore has been scoring as well. So he might again capitalize on the headed chances because that's where Nottingham Forest have considered 20 chances and ranked second. Now, I know a lot of us have gone through Milinkovic and Murillo, but yeah, apparently new Nottingham Forest doesn't seem to be very watertight. But some of us also went with cells. I myself personally have cells. So yeah, haven't really got much return there. Um, from the Nottingham Forest point of view, I'm not quite sure because don't know if Chris Wood will play, will not play. So the zonal also is not kind of very clear. So Sunderland seems to be showing good defensive numbers here, and in that case, that's nothing standing out. So I wouldn't really touch on go into details into that. Moving on to the next fixture, which is Tottenham versus Everton, Wolves, and of course. Wolves is not showing the greatest of forms this season, and there is not many players that is drawing our attention. But some of us may consider Larson, and at least for this particular fixture, Tottenham seems to show some sort of a weakness down the center, where they're ranked 16th and are sorry, they've considered 16 chances and are ranked third. So yeah, perhaps those who are thinking of Larson, maybe this could be a fixture where he could get some returns. But beside that, really not appealing, and I would rather stay away from Wolves assets for the coming game weeks. Um, then to Everton versus Bournemouth, West Ham, and as you can see, nothing really stands out for West Ham. Really, Bowen is of course doing well, and yeah, from the left flank, Everton seems to show a bit of weakness. We're at least conceding 13 chances and are ranked eighth, where Bowen will occupy, so may end up scoring another goal or two, but not too really um, appealing, I would say. But there's one player who seems to be kind of being benched most of the time because of his price range and because of the fact that they have strong opponents and their team is not kind of strong, defensively strong. It's Diouf, and we are most of the time, I think, at least in my case, I have benched him all the time and I have ended up, missing all his points. I think he's already got 3 assists or maybe 2 assists already. So that looks pretty interesting. So this could be another match against Everton where Diouf could be again on the score sheet in terms of the fact that Everton are actually considered 18 chances and are ranked sixth. Now, Fulham versus Aston Villa. Yeah, I know the Zonal says that Watkins is ranked seventh, and they have considered Fulham have considered 12 chances, but again, there's not much hope with and I think a lot of managers are really frustrated when it comes to the Aston Villa assets. So Watkins is now right now a sell. I wouldn't really even suggest you to hold or even buy. The only player that if I would ever consider is Cash. Because Aston Villa doesn't seem to be concede too many. So that's another interesting fact. So this is where Cash could give you a bit of a what you call it defensive points and clean sheet points as well, but also end up scoring. I think in the last match he scored, and as you can see, Fulham have actually considered 13 chances and are ranked 8. So maybe another repetition in terms of his performance by Cash could be expected in this match as well. So those are the fixtures. Let's move on to the team of the week. And yeah, nothing really stands out, to be honest. And I think most of the players we have discussed, Pedro is a captain shout, Haaland is a triple captain shout, Richarlison obviously for the zonal worst rank, so he's making space. Semenyo looks to be in great form. Again, Reindeers is occupying the similar position like Haaland, playing down the center, so that's there. Fernandez as well. Seems to be promising, and NDIA, of course, is the one who's kind of drawing a lot of attention and kind of in the transfer plans of a lot of managers. Kukurea, as I said, I think that we discussed Dorgu as well, but Truffet is another interesting option that you could consider from Bournemouth point of view. Yeah, particularly given the vulnerability of its opponent from the flank, where Truffet is going to occupy the space. So yeah, I think that's that. So not really much surprise, and I think most of these players have been discussed earlier, so I wouldn't go around repeating again. Moving on to the goals conceded zonal wise, and I think this is where things get a little bit interesting. West Ham seems to be the worst team in terms of goals conceded, conceding 13 goals over the last 5 matches, and have most of the 62% of its goals have come through the center, which is quite interesting. Followed by Wolves, who have conceded 12 goals, and again, 66% of its goals have come through the center as well. Brentford again have conceded 10 goals and have conceded 70% of their goals down the center. So that's pretty interesting. So Brentford actually, from the center zonal point of view, I think Brentford seems to be the weakest so far, with 70% of goals being conceded. Nottingham Forest, on the other hand, yeah, this is a bit of a disappointment for all the Nottingham Forest assets, especially the defensive ones like Muriel, Milinkovic, and Sells. 9 goals conceded, and 56 of those percentage have come through the center. So that's pretty worrying as well. Burnley, on the other hand, conceded 8 goals so far, and most of their goals seems to have come from the left flank, with 50% of the goals. So that's that. Yeah. Now let's look at the best defensive teams, and as you can see, Arsenal seems to be the best yet. So I think it's pretty obvious that we should now move for some of the Arsenal defensive assets. And I think it's kind of given over the last 3, 4 years that the way they have performed defensively. I think it's quite important that Gabriel and even Saliba and others just take the automatic selection. So yeah, they have conceded 2 goals and both have come through the center. Crystal Palace is another team, and these two are going to play. Are going to have a good fixture this time. So that's that. So Crystal Palace is also conceded 2 goals, and more 50% of their goals have actually come through the center, and the 50% have actually come from the left flank. Tottenham, on the other hand, have conceded 3 goals, and most of their goals seems to be coming from the right flank. So that's another area where Tottenham seems to be a bit vulnerable. Newcastle is another team that is showing defensive solidity, and they're going to face Arsenal this week. So that's why nothing really stood out in terms of the zonal weakness. And as you can see, that Newcastle have considered only 3 goals and have most of their goals, 67% of their goals have actually come through the center. And then followed by Sunderland, which is a bit of a surprise for a promoted team to show such defensive performances. 4 goals considered so far, and their vulnerability seems to be lying more on the right flank. That's where they have considered 50% of their goals. So that's that. So yeah, and that is it. I think in terms of it, I would say there is nothing much to really focus on. But I hope you kind of enjoyed that. And yeah, we'll be back again next week. And of course, there are a few transfer suggestions that will be out on our YouTube as shorts. So please do keep an eye, and of course, do give it a watch. If you like it, please do. And thank you for all your support. We are trying to keep on improving the zonal weakness. So we appreciate all the support that's coming from you. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.